Hello and welcome to our little brief talk about autism in schools. Thanks for joining us this morning. Let's start by telling you a little bit about who we are. So just in case you don't know about us, I'm Jill and I set up Reminds in 2015 after working for a long time as a teacher and inclusion manager in the city. Over the last 9 years, we've evolved and have changed from the 11 people who came along to the first meeting into a much bigger organisation. And we now support almost 5,000 families, mostly in Southampton, but also out into Hampshire. And we get on average 20 new members a week. We have a small but dedicated team, all with lived experience of neurodiversity and mental health. Like me, many of them were unable to manage their careers and caring responsibilities for their children. So we have a fantastically diverse team who really understand things from a parent's perspective. From the very beginning of Reminds, the aim was ultimately to help children and young people by supporting parents and carers. We want to improve the outcomes for families and also the professionals that are working with them as well. So we try and sit somewhere in the middle of both. So we work with parents and carers and with professionals. We think that we're the epitome of early intervention. Parents and carers often come to us right at the start with their concerns about their children, when family and often school don't see the issues their children are facing. With us, they're believed, guided and advised and supported, we hope, on the best way forward. We are also now the primary link with Southampton specialist CAMS and parents and carers, and we work really closely with the Southampton City Council SEND team as well. A big part of our work is representing the families we support and being the voice for them. We've done a lot of participation work with professionals and talked at conferences about how important it is to work with parents and carers and the positive difference this can make. I think that was probably the reason why I've been asked to do this project. So let's talk a little bit about the Autism in Schools project. This is a project that's been run in Southampton since 2020 and is part of a nationwide project about improving autism provision within schools. In the first year, when it began in Southampton, 10 schools took part. In the second year, we had 8 schools, and last academic year, there were 17 schools. This year, we've got 21 schools within Southampton, which is a nice total of 55 schools. Not a bad number out of a possible 83. There's also been some training with colleges around autism provision too. Schools ultimately decide whether they want to take part, and they are encouraged to take part in this project by the council. They then have fortnightly training sessions with the Southampton Inclusion Partnership to learn more about supporting autism in their school, and they do training on this for a term. At the end of the training, schools are asked to present the changes they want to make or have made within their school, and this is then picked up by the local authority as they encourage schools to add the changes they want to make into their school improvement plans to make sure they happen. The aim being is that the person that attends the training from the school then takes that back to the school to talk to the rest of the staff to help them understand, the different aspects of autism and how schools can really help young people with autism. Okay. So just going to talk very briefly a little bit about the School Inclusion Partnership, who lead the training for schools. They're an educational partnership of regional special schools and the University of Winchester and Southampton City Council. And they sit alongside local mainstream primary and secondary partners who form part of their wider alliance. Southampton Inclusion Partnership provide training to support mainstream and special schools. They develop provision for pupils with SEND and have an outreach service which provides specialist support for children and young people with SEND and behavioural needs, and they will go into mainstream schools and other settings to deliver that. They work very closely with schools. The organisation is based at Springwell School, which is a community school for primary age children with complex learning needs. In terms of our role within this project, there are 2 elements to it. And as I said, we try and sit in the middle of professionals and families working with both. For this project, one of the things we do is reach out to parents and carers to find out about their views about autism provision within the school. So we do this by going into the schools if we're invited, and we meet then face-to-face with parents and carers. We do this in a room at the school, ideally either just after drop-off or just before collection, so parent carers don't have to come back, especially for a meeting. You know how tricky that can be. And we ask the schools to provide us with a room without school staff present, so that parents and carers have a safe space, really, if they want to share the positive aspects, but also maybe the less positive aspects of provision within the school. We want to know what's going well and what areas could be improved. And so it's really important that we hear from families within that school. We want to reach as many as possible. You don't need a diagnosis. If you think your child may have, issues around autism or neurodiversity, and you want to feed those back to us, then we're really happy to hear from you. If you're unable to attend the meeting at school, then we have a virtual form, which you can see on the screen, and we can send that out to parent carers to fill in to get their views and experiences. And we ask schools to share that as well. We want to hear from as many families at the school as possible so we get a really good overview of the school. From all of that feedback, we collate the common themes that we see, and then we send a report out to each school so that they can see the views of their families. These reports aren't shared with parent carers, but we do encourage schools to share the changes that they've made as part of the project. We always offer to feedback any changes that the schools have made to parents and carers, but it is up to the school whether or not they want us to do that. We also create a common themes report for the SEND department at the local authority. So across the city, it's very clear to see what are the common themes that are coming up time and time again. And we share those so that they can be aware as well as some of the issues. And we also give that report to all schools. So again, they can see where the common issues are for schools. So that's one part of our role within this project. The other part of our role within this project is to offer one-to-one support for parents and carers around autism and education. We've got a member of staff dedicated to this role, former teacher in Senko. She's got really good understanding of education, and she can meet with parents face to face, or via email or a phone call, whatever works best for you. We're not experts. We don't claim to be experts, but we do have a lot of lived experience within our team. And in the past, during this project, we've helped with things like school anxiety, school refusal, sensory issues, masking, EHCPs, changes that could be made within the classroom to support a young person. And we're also able to advise parent carers of other things that might be able to help them if they live within the city. So it's probably a good time to talk about some of the other support that we offer as Reminds. We have a 1625 Wellbeing Collective organisation that we're part of. This involves Solar Mind, No Limits, and Youth Options, as well as us. Those three organisations support young people directly with any issues around mental health and transition. So that might be transition from secondary school to college, it could be college to university, or into employment. It might be housing or benefits or anything else. And the only kind of criteria within that is that you live within Southampton and that your young person has some sort of mental health need. It doesn't have to be a diagnosed mental health need. That may be anxiety or depression or something more complex. Our role within that project is to support the parents and carers of those young people with advice and support about what areas, of transition they might need help with. We've got more details on our website, and we have a member of staff, Kirsten, who is an amazing fountain of knowledge about all the things that might be able to help within the city in terms of transition. We also offer the Early Bird Plus and Teen Life Autism courses that are written by the National Autistic Society. We deliver those both face-to-face and virtually across the city in the East, West and Central. Again, more details on that on our website. We run the New Forest Parenting ADHD courses, again, in various areas across the city. A really useful course if you want support around ADHD. And in November, we're going to pilot a teenage version of the New Forest Parenting Programme to really focus on parents and carers of teenagers and some of the issues that come up with lots of practical advice. We have really good outcomes from all of our courses, and they really do make a difference to those that attend them. We run advice clinics, which is a really good place to get some advice from an expert. So we work with CAMS for most of our clinics. We offer a mental health advice clinic during the day and the evening, an autism advice clinic, an ADHD one. We have a self-harm advice clinic. With adult mental health, we do an adult mental health advice clinic for parents and carers who have either young people who are aged 18 and above, or for the parent carers themselves if they want some help with their mental health. And we have a SEND legal advice clinic where we link with a local solicitors, Shenton's, who offers support and advice. They'll give you a 30-minute, like a free consultation on any issues, the more complex issues around SEND education. And again, we share all of the advice clinics on our Facebook group and on our website. So if you want some more information about those, just have a look. The advice clinics are virtual, and you can book in and get anything from a 10-minute to a 30-minute appointment with a clinician just to get some advice. You don't need to be under CAMHS, you don't need to have a diagnosis, and you don't even need to live in Southampton if you're just asking for general advice about sort of mental health or neurodiversity. They're very busy, and so we try and fit as many people in as we can. We have support groups that we run for parents and carers, so you can meet other families in similar situations and get support from our team and advice, as well as just chatting. Sometimes just having a chat to other parents, carers living through similar things is really useful. And we now run those in Sholing, Thornhill, Millbrook and Shirley. And again, all details are on our website and on our Facebook group. We have a library. We've got over 200 books all around neurodiversity and mental health, all the books that CAMHS recommend, as well as lots of other really great books that you might want to not buy yourself, but you might just want to borrow, and we can loan those out. And we have a small sensory library with things like weighted blankets, sensory toys, body vests, weights, lap pads, wobble boards, just different things, again, that as parent carers you might want to borrow rather than buy it, because we know that often you buy it for your child and they get bored of it very quickly, or it's just not for them. The book library is also open to professionals. So if you want to find out more, again, our website has everything you need on there, and there's a link where you can just submit and you can search through to see what we've got. We have a YouTube channel, which is where you hopefully already know that if you're watching this. And that, again, we make lots and lots of videos with professionals, CAMHS, with EPs and other professionals, offering information and lots of practical strategies about issues that our families face. So again, that's a really good resource. If you can't get out to support groups, we have a lot of social media groups, and they're very, very busy. And you can find out more and get advice just from parents, carers, and they run 24/7. So they're always available for more information and just support. And all the addresses are on there, and the one for the website as well. So if you want to get involved with the Autism in Schools project, you can speak to your Senko about the project. We're hoping that now they know. I can see a spelling mistake on Senko as well. You can look at our social media posters to see when we are coming to your schools. We've got a dedicated Facebook group that you can find, hopefully. That's the link to it, but we're happy to send that out if you need it. And that will just be a group about the Autism in Schools project, telling you any updates when we're going into particular schools. We've got the survey link, which I can put in the chat for you if you want it. There we go. And so if you can't get to a meeting, but you want to give feedback on your school, you can just click on that link and complete the survey. And that will be the same as if we met with you face to face. It's just another way of collecting that information. It'd be really good if you can tell other parent carers about this project so that they can get involved. We're really keen to get to as many parents and carers as we can within the school, so we get a really good overview of what's happening. And if you want any support or advice, you can email ais@reminds.co.uk. I think that's it. I'm going to stop the video before we go to any questions. But otherwise, thank you very much. If you've got anything you want to know, you can email us and just let us know.